Print for Pay Hotel members. Today we're here with David Whitten. David Whitten is from Chico, California, and David is the branch sales manager for Caltronics. And Dave, how are things today?
Doing great, Art. Thank you very much for having me.
And I heard you're having a few issues out there in Northern California.
We are. It is fire season in Northern California, and we are currently surrounded by the effects of the Dixie Fire, which seems to be getting worse and worse, and just nothing seems to be going in the right direction in terms of containment. But we'll get through it, and there's a lot of local communities affected, and unfortunately it seems that fire season just gets worse and worse every year. So thankful not to be directly affected, but a lot of my customers, a lot of friends and family either are or know someone that is. So it's a tough time right now.
Right, you had this happen a couple of years ago also, right?
We did, yes. So we had the Campfire of 2018. That was catastrophic in its own right. There was a lot more loss of human life, for that one, and a lot more structures. The Dixie Fire is a lot more forest destruction. So, but yeah, Northern California has not had a good run in the last couple of years with fires and natural disasters.
Crazy. So how long have you been in the industry now?
So this is my 11th year in the business, and I started also in Chico, with a real small Konica Minolta dealer. And, I kind of woke up one day and said, if you can't beat them, join them, kind of thing. And I decided to, go work for Global Imaging, who, had been kicking my butts up and down the street. And so went to work for them, spent the better part of 10 years there. And as the migration of, Global, turned into XPS, and Xerox had their hand in just about everything, it just, was no longer the right place for me. And I had fended off a lot of, headhunter calls from other companies, and one of which was from Caltronics. And I finally decided to make that call back and say, maybe I would like to hear what you guys got going on. And their whole business model, and much more, family oriented approach, and, very customer minded. And that just kind of reminded me why I got into this business, and, sales in general, but, really dealing with what we can do for customers. And myself and my whole team from XPS decided to make the switch April of 2019. So, we're a little over 2 years here. Very much so a wild ride in terms of, we opened up a branch in a brand new market for Caltronics. And so we started with nothing. We had all the resources at our disposal, but, we got our first customer. We're about to sign our first renewal. And so it's been a very eye-opening experience, been very, really having to go out there and tell the story, and convincing someone to take a chance on a brand new branch at least. And but the great part is we've got the backing of a very well established 40-year-old company that is known for great service, known for taking care of its customers, and
that's cool.
The whole reason why we decided to align with them.
Right. That's a neat story. Hey, what lines you guys represent?
Yeah. So we do Konica Minolta. Caltronics is a legacy Konica Minolta partner, and in the last several years we've expanded that out to HP, Canon, and through some acquisitions we've also picked up Ricoh, and we have a company that's under our umbrella that does Sharp. So we've got a lot going on. And we've expanded our portfolio past just MFPs into wide format solutions, and kind of running the gamut of all the different industry type options that we have out there.
Cool. Hey, when it comes to are you getting involved in any IT services, content, or backup?
So no.
Okay.
I think at this point, we're we're trying to keep our focus on doing the things we do and doing them really well.
Right.
I think inevitably we'll have to be involved in that, or delegate a division of our company to do that. Right now the most we're getting into that is managed voice, and that's still such a foreign concept to me, because it's all such a different methodology of talking about it. There's different questions you have to ask, and it really deals with less workflow, in my opinion. And to me, that's more commoditized, just because you're competing with the phone utilities for it.
Right. Interesting. So where do you focus your efforts? Are you major account, SMB, production?
So for me personally, I've got a team of two territory reps, and so my primary responsibility is I work for them.
Okay.
They have large territories. They are both enabled to work anything from a single unit SMB all the way up to a major account. Prior to management, my background is government and major account, so I obviously can help them out a lot in that regard, and I ultimately end up kind of taking the lead on a lot of those types of accounts. But first and foremost, I think my leadership style is, I work for my reps. We ask them to do a big job every day, and I need to be there 100% of the way, supporting them, making sure they have all the tools that they need. And I think that the cohesion that we have as a team, we are 140% a plan for the year. Nice. And that didn't happen on accident.
Right. So my next question was going to be, how's the last 12 months been for you?
So even though we're ahead for the year, it's been a lot of up and down. We started kind of out of the gate slow in January. Coming off of last year, we had up months, down months, but I think that as the world tries to come back to normal, regardless of what anybody's opinions are on it, I think that there's a lot of business owners that they just want to get back to business. And so business has been good for us as a result of that. And, we are ahead of the game for the year, and what we're doing is working. My guys are out there diligently doing everything that they need to do. And, I think that, that success can be attributed to just wanting to be successful.
Yeah. Gotta want it, right?
Absolutely. Always.
How's the last 3 months been?
Probably our 3 biggest months since we've opened. In the last 3 months, we've sold a handful of wide format, a lot of MFPs, and a lot of solutions. And I think we're just, we're having great discussions with people. And ultimately, I think that the positioning of everything that we do is really about how do we partner with you to help your business. And, I find that people are a lot more forthcoming and a lot more when they don't feel like they're being sold.
Correct.
As a result of that, our customers have trusted their business to us, and we've written consecutive $100,000 months on a $50,000 budget.
Awesome. My next question: during COVID-19, did your team do anything differently to find net new accounts?
Yes. So one of the things that we instituted was the driving field blitzes. And so what we would do is, at first it was very, very unclear who was working, who wasn't working, and who was still in business. So what we would do is we would go, drive around. One person would drive, one person would write, and we would drive the same routes, door to door. We just wouldn't get out of the car. And so we'd make notes of everything and come back to the office and start, reaching out to people. And, for a lot of the accounts we've known for a long time, but it was just more of who's got the doors open right now. And, we started talking to a lot of people and just making sure that they were aware that if they had a contract ending in the next 6 months, they might want to just make sure that they were not going to be automatically locked into it just due to the static of everything else. And consequently, we actually got a lot of net new business because for them, their current vendor was not even speaking to them. It just, it turned into an excuse to not do anything. And so by being more service oriented, we got a lot of business that way. And we did a lot of mailers. We did a lot of, email campaigns and LinkedIn engagement. And, some of it was just, we had to pick up the phone and call and just say, when should we talk to you? And a handful of people said, well, right now is good because everyone's home, I can focus on this. And so we were steady. It took a while to build up the pipeline and kind of reinvent the sales cycle for everything. And so, we had to find a way to prospect. All of our quotas were relaxed. I mean, everyone was very, very understanding of the situation. But at the end of the day, just because the quotas relaxed doesn't mean that, we all have our commissions coming through the door, which are our livelihood. And so, we had to find a way to sell, and we did it.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool idea about the scouting and the noting. That was a great idea, because then who's in the office and who's open, and give it a shot.
Well, and just as much as there was businesses shutting down during COVID and going out of business permanently, a lot of new businesses started during COVID as well. And that was a really easy way for us to find out who's moving where.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. So now that, a couple of months when I first started this, I put in a question about what are you doing now in a post-COVID environment? I don't even know if I can call what we're in now as post-COVID.
This is COVID 2.0 right now.
I guess so. We've got companies here who were supposed to get back in September, and those companies have now put that off, and they're still many are still remote, but also many have started maybe a hybrid schedule. And then I know somebody works in the finance industry in New York City, and she actually told me that many of those companies have now put off getting back in the office till 2022. Which leads me to, are you guys doing anything differently in the last, from that real active COVID 1.0 to now COVID 2.0 for finding net new business?
I think we're doing a lot of what we were doing before. I mean, we have the option of meeting with more people in person now, but I have found that it is just as appropriate to request a virtual meeting as it is an in-person meeting.
Yeah.
I think that that's going to be a permanent change, not just for our business or our industry, but just business in general. And my kids are doing distance learning, so it's kind of trickled down everywhere. And I think that what we're doing differently now is just getting ourselves more involved in our customers' businesses. And for example, there's a local event that's happening in Northern California here, and so we were approached to sponsor a set of cornhole boards for the event. And so what that turned into was finding out the person who did the cornhole boards and talking to them about how they're producing them. And so what ended up coming of that was the company that we sponsored. Now we have an opportunity to do business with them, and the gentleman that's producing all of the boards, now we have an opportunity to do business with him in a wide format capacity. So just being out there and talking to people and making ourselves available, we're we're generating opportunities that probably otherwise might not have come to us organically.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works. Things work.
It is, and I mean, networking's always been a big thing, but I think just understanding, what it takes to get things done. I mean, I see a lot of posts on LinkedIn, from print professionals category, and I mean, everything around us is printed in one way or another, it seems like. And the more we understand about it, and the more we realize that businesses are bred from making tangible goods, the more value we have by nature of the fact that we offer a lot of that. And I think that's one thing that's so cool about the imaging industry, is it's not just black ink on, or black toner on white paper anymore. It's everything else around it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree. I like to say that as sales reps and dealers and dealer principals, we need to follow the migration of print.
Yes. And one other thing that's been very, very worthwhile noting is, I mean, our wide format department started about 4 years ago in terms of having a dedicated leadership team to wide format. And we've grown double digit every year. And we represent the HP latex. We do design jets. We do Canon, plot wave and color wave, and KIP, and Colex routing, and we do so much of it. And just realizing that that's been such a lucrative, profitable segment of our industry, we've been able to bolster the losses from the MFP segment by making sure that we have money coming in from this other segment. So to me, we've got a broad portfolio. A lot of folks do, but it's really about the leadership and the commitment to those segments is what makes it successful.
Right. Hey, when it comes to copiers, is there any app or third-party solution that you're leading with for your clients?
I really like PaperCut. I find that its applications are getting more and more diverse. To me, PaperCut was always about schools or large enterprise, that had the money to track prints. And I always thought it was kind of interesting that you had to spend money to save money in that regard. But what I see now is that it really is enabling a different kind of work environment, and being able to offer it as a hands-free solution with QR codes, being able to offer it as a mobile print solution, and even a work from home solution. I mean, that's been really cool. And very recently, we just installed it as a student print solution at a junior college, where it's going to be a big part of the registration process, so that the students and the staff don't necessarily have to trade things off tangibly. The student can do everything that they need to do right from their mobile device, and it automatically sets them up in their Active Directory and does everything that needs to happen completely hands-free, which I think is really cool.
Right. Yeah, that is. I guess one of the biggest questions of the day for all of us is how are things going with inventory on your end?
Well, the fact that you're asking that question, I think, means you know the answer. HP was backordered from the beginning. We've been dealing with that for a long time, and we're just now starting to see the real delays across the rest of the product lines. And so, okay, our expectation right now, I think, is could be up to 2 months for equipment to hit. Certain models and configurations obviously are going to be longer, but it's a real challenge, and I don't really know that there's a solution. It's not a monetary fix. You can't buy more of it to prevent it. And the hard part, at least for my reps, is we have lease end dates that don't go away because of inventory issues. And we have, letters of intent that need to be sent in and
Yep.
return authorizations that need to be fulfilled. And there's just not enough to go around. And as we're signing larger and larger deals, that problem just gets exacerbated when we can't fill all of 10 machines. We can't fill all 20 machines. And, the whole process gets hung up at some point. So, it's been a real challenge, but our leadership team has been very transparent about that as well, so that we can work through some creative solutions if needed. And, in some cases we are, we're able to pull a machine from one deal and go to the other. And, people have been very understanding, but there's just some natural challenges that are a part of our industry that we need to be very aware of. And I'm not sure that there's really an end in sight with the inventory issues, mainly because I feel like at first it was the chip shortage that led to it, and now there's a physical issue with getting equipment, anywhere to do anything with it. And so I feel like we're hopefully at the lowest point right now, and that it gets better. But I have no idea how long we're going to be at this valley.
The only thing we can do with our clients is just to advise them to order now, don't wait, because we don't know what the future is going to hold.
Right.
Interesting.
Absolutely. No, we want to get people in line as quickly as possible without sounding like we're making that excuse. But I think as more of the world experiences those back orders, back order is not such a terrible word anymore.
Right. MFP Security seems to be pretty hot with some of our members. More than manufacturers are pushing it. Are you and your team actually having that MFP Security talk with your clients yet?
We have. We find that the interest level is kind of low, ironically, and I think mainly because most of our customers, our average customer has one machine, 4 employees, and does under 5,000 pages a month. I mean, that's our bread and butter. So a lot of these folks have outsourced IT companies that they're utilizing, and so in their mind, security is on the IT company. Whether that's right or wrong from a best practice, that's how they're making decisions. And the ones that we have talked about security is the larger organizations that do want multiple factor authentication. Those are the ones that we're selling PaperCut to. Those are the ones that are enabling some kind of secure print, but not really getting into a whole lot of the embedded security and whitelisting and blacklisting or anything like that. It hasn't seemed to be a huge value add right now for whatever reason.
I hear you. I would say 70% of the clients are basically, it'll never happen to us.
Right.
I said that to an owner of an IT company a couple of months ago when we met, and all he did was he just bust out laughing. Anything can be hacked. Anyway.
Yes.
Is there anything that's really, really hot for you guys right now? Whether it's a MFPs, a brand, wide format?
I think as a company, wide format's just been crushing it right now.
Wide
I think
format as far as AEC or wide format as production?
Wide format more as graphical HP, so specifically HP products, even as opposed to KIPs, or more black and white type solutions. It's such a lucrative market, and there are so many niche players out there that only deal with that we've been able to capitalize on opportunities even within our own current accounts that we were not in before. and there's margins to be held, and I mean, the applications are all just really cool. I mean, that's not a scientific measurement of anything, nor can it be quantified, but a lot of this stuff is just really cool. So it's almost more fun it's fun to sell. And I really enjoy production print. I enjoy graphics in wide format, and I think that just the more we pursue those opportunities, I mean, we're finding applications that are just wild out there. And so finding those types of things, I think, kind of rejuvenate the sales spirit of going out and prospecting and cold calling and developing that new business.
Yeah, and wide format is still growing, and
yes.
That's why you see many companies still coming out with new devices and trying to grow that business. It's actually pretty interesting to see how that's growing.
Yeah.
So when it comes to copy machines, I ask everybody this. If you could add one new feature, what would you add?
That's a really interesting question. That's a hard question to answer, only because I feel like there are so many things out there, and they're all so personal to some degree. Man, I don't know.
Yeah. So I would love to see the ability. So when you're on your phone, and then you can actually take a news link or a website, and then you could share that out and post that on different social media sites.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see that with a copy machine.
Yeah.
Where you could take old photos, brochures, or legacy documents, and actually share those out to help the marketing department, or to help promote your brand on social media.
Sure.
That's the one thing I'd like to see.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like there's so many little things, that when we encounter the need for them, it's, man, I really wish they had them. But to get asked that question in generality, what would you add? I don't know. I mean, I feel like more integration with with wireless and BYOD is helpful at this point, and because right now that's a very solutions driven architecture to make that work, and there can be a level of middleware in there, with more of this kind of shared workspace and mobile office. I feel like maybe the ability to just kind of directly integrate with devices is going to be helpful in the future.
Or how about just something as simple as make the Wi-Fi standard. Quit having it as an option.
Yeah, no, I totally.
I mean, we can go out and buy $300 MFP that's got Wi-Fi capability. Yet, as dealers, we've got to pay almost $300 to add a Wi-Fi card in our MFP.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a great point.
Yeah, it's crazy. So we're before I let you go, I got one other question for you, and I really appreciate the time. So for new reps or novices, or even old timers like me, what's the one piece of knowledge that you'd like to share?
Learn the business that you want to do business with. And I mean that from learn about their particular company, but learn their industry and learn their acumen, learn their jargon, and be able to really speak to why you want to talk about that. I think that's one thing that falls really short with training, is when new reps are taught to regurgitate we want to work with you because we've been able to do this for this company, and all someone has to do is say, and how did you do that? And then all of a sudden they're stuck there like a deer on the road. And, so I placed a lot of emphasis for myself and for my representatives that, they really need to work on business acumen, and, they need to understand the customer's industry well enough to have an intelligent conversation, and even well enough to suggest something that their customer may or may not have thought about. My background educationally is, includes an MBA. So, to me, I'm always tying things back into, into the business world. And I feel like being able to have real business conversations and not just canned business conversations has paid me exponentially. So I would say invest the time to learn a little bit about business, because it's definitely not taught anywhere. And I think that would take someone a lot further than, regurgitating a talk track with 2 or 3 KPIs in it.
I agree. That's a great point. I really appreciate the time today. And
absolutely.
I know you guys are, you're pretty much going crazy in your area. But I'm going to close this out. I want to thank all the members for tuning in and listening to what David had to say. And I'll close with probably the most important line, not line, but what I believe in. And I think David would agree with this. The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Art.
All right, David, good talking to you. You take care now.
You too, buddy. Thank you.
Bye-bye.